This is Mike Matthews, the host of Mike's Daily Podcast, the longest running self-produced daily podcast on the planet. Well, this is FF episode 2969. Oh, we're so close to 3,000. So very close, and close to Christmas and all of that. And an interesting incident happened to me on the podcast today. I will tell you all about that. And my little run-in with some kind of an animal that is hanging out here in Podcastro Valley. I will tell you all about that. But first, let me open the door for you to Café Anyway. Café Anyway. Welcome to Café Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
FF episode 2969. And Mike Matthews. This is like the third time in the past 30 days that Mike's Daily Podcast. I already recorded this podcast and then it crashed and then I lost all of it, but I think I fixed the culprit. It has something that I'm going to preach to you from the pulpit. It is a place called the temporary folder, that holds everything, so you don't get in a lather when everything gets deleted and disappears. So hopefully I fixed that issue. Mike's Daily Podcast. It's a computer thing. You lose stuff. That's how the cyber world works. Daily. But what I learned recently is you can't be friends with cats. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. I have 2 cats. They're wonderful. They're just the best little guys. Will I get a dog someday? Maybe. We'll see. I had a boxer for over 10 years. Such a great guy. Basil the boxer. We'll hear from him in a moment. But here is the thing. I was walking with my lovely lady friend on Friday night, and we're walking down the street not too far away from my house, and there's these 3 cats. They're just hanging out on someone's front lawn. One of them's all white. One of them's kind of a little black and white. One's got some other blue colors, gray colors. Is that what? Something like that mixed in. That one cat is really fluffy. And I'm petting him, and he's purring like crazy. Just a loud motor going. And after a while, my lovely lady friend, she loves cats. And we say goodbye to the cats. And we're walking away, and this one with the really loud purr box keeps following us. So I pet him a little bit more. And all of a sudden, he grabs my hand with both paws. Just a real quick attack. Boom! Like that. And I go, uh-oh. And I'm not bleeding right away, right? It takes a minute or 2. But cats, when they get you, when you oh my gosh, it's like I was mauled by a tiger. Well, not that bad, but yeah.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I looked down after about a minute, and I'm looking at my hand. I looked like I was in some kind of weird circus freak accident, and I grabbed some Kleenex out of my pocket, and I'm holding it down, and my lovely lady friend's like, oh my gosh, let's get you home, get some Neosporin, get some hydrogen peroxide on that. So, hey, the podcast picture is not of that. It is of the fine town of Danville. They got a little museum that's just basically one room, but they got it all done up for Christmas. And the late great Basil the boxer would have chased that cat into up a tree if he saw what happened there. But yeah, this see that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com, the cool museum in Danville. Got a little Christmas tree going on. They got this funny thing up above where Santa's flying over your head. See it at mikesdailypodcast.com. And the late great Basil the boxer and I went to this area of Danville all the time. There's a cool iron trail that you can walk on. Used to be the train tracks. And then they paved it all over, made a nice walking area. So we used to do that. Danville's really beautiful this time of year in the Christmas season because they got all the lights up everywhere. So that happened today. But let's say you want to live in lovely California. Where does it rank if you are renting alone? Here are the worst states for studio renters, studio apartments. Can you guess who's number 1? It's not California, surprisingly. We're 3rd. No, number 2.
This is interesting.
Wow, this is interesting.
Number 2 is Hawaii, which makes sense. And number 1 is New York. About 34% of a person's disposable income goes to rent. That's what the people found out at the home warranty expert website, Cinch Home Services. They gathered data from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis and the National Low Income Housing Coalition to analyze and rank the least affordable states for renters in studio apartments. They did that so they could get publicity and people buy home warranties from them, although I will not do that because I'm not into home warranties. Just not a fan. I had one for the first couple of years when I got
Mike. You're such a creative soul.
All right.
When I first became a homeowner, thank you. And it just was not for me. Okay. Because you pay so much every month, and then somebody comes out to the place and goes, yeah, this is broken. This is going to cost this much. Wait a minute. I thought I covered that cost already. Anyway, Café Anyway just doesn't make sense for me. Because along the way with YouTube and stuff, you can learn how to fix some things. Some stuff stay away from, but in Georgia, they're fourth with the most expensive rent. Then fifth is Massachusetts. Sixth is the state of Washington. Seventh is Maryland. Eighth is Arizona. Ninth, Florida. And Oregon is at the bottom of the list.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For the most amount of money spent on a studio apartment. However, the state that is the best to live in, because they have the most affordable rent for studio renters, is South Dakota. So let's all move. All right. So far, so good. This recording device thing hasn't crashed again. Hey, I know you hear too much about Taylor Swift, but it is interesting that her tour is finally over. It ended last week, the Eras Tour. It lasted a marathon, almost 2 years, but it got to 21 months. But that's a marathon, 21 miles, so that makes sense. First music tour ever to gross more than $1 billion. And, you know, what? Yeah. Think of all the concerts you've been to in your life. Some of the big names that you've seen other than Taylor Swift. And they didn't reach 1 billion. Well, Taylor Swift did. The Eras Tour movie, which came out over a year ago in October of last year, became the highest grossing concert film of all time. Think of some of the biggest concert films of all time. Got your Song Remains the Same, Led Zeppelin, and Stop Making Sense, Talking Heads. And whatever was it Rattle and Hum? Rattle and Hum with U2. As we go outside a Café Anyway, we're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast. Somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica. This is it, the Michael Jackson one, released posthumously. Maybe there's one that you're a big favorite, that you're a big fan of. That's one of your favorites that you're thinking of at this moment, or not. Maybe you're just thinking of these wonderful sounds outside a Café Anyway. Everywhere she went, Swifties would fly in and spend like tourists. The Eras Tour actually generated, this is interesting, a staggering $4.6 billion in consumer spending in the United States alone. Remember, she went to Europe too. It's called Swiftonomics. It moved hotel rates, airfares, the price of clothing, and food. And Target cashed in. She made a deal with them to sell the Eras Tour book, which cost $40. Why she cut out independent bookstores, mom and pops? She said, nope, they're not going to sell the book. Target is. Wow, Taylor. That's very chowda of you. So, yeah, you know, those mom and pop businesses can always use the business with those bookstores. I was going to tell a bunch of those wonderful dad jokes, but the only one I'm going to tell you is, why can't dinosaurs clap their hands? Because they're extinct. And they will leave it at that. Look who's here. Hello, Mega Master. It's Madame Rootabega. I don't get that joke. Ooh. Because the dinosaurs, they're extinct. Because you would think they can't clap their hands because they're kind of small. And
the Oscar goes to
Madame Rootabega. Do you like movies? Yes. Do you like dinosaurs? Yes. Do you like rainbows? No. Okay. Just like Eric Cartman doesn't like rainbows. We found out in the first episode. Where do rainbows go when they've been bad? To Prism with an M. So they have time to reflect on what they've done. I stayed up all night wondering where the sun went, and then it dawned on me. Speaking of dawn, why do people live in Greece? Hate waking up at dawn. Because dawn is tough on Greece. Okay, I'll delete that forever. You're welcome. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the burger attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley.
Is a dish best served cold. You think about that.
Do you know that? That revenge is a dish served cold. I guess best served cold. I guess that's. I do know that. I've heard that.
Mike, we were really sorry to hear about you getting mauled by a small cat.
Yeah, a little bitty cat. Do you know that? I don't need that. But yes, thank you for your concern. That's pretty much the end of the show. Thankfully, it didn't crash again.
All right.
I'm happy about that. But what do you think about any of this stuff we covered? Thank you to Rob Black for that Taylor Swift story. I produce his podcast. He's heard on AM 1220 KDOW weekday mornings and on Kron TV Monday through Thursday in the 9 o'clock hour. You can let me know what you think about all of this. Here's the phone number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
Will you shut ups? Liberty Nation Freedom Phone for all.
Mike, this is weird. You shut up. I don't agree with anything you said, Mike Matthews. I don't care what you say about anything because I'm Will you shut up?
Thanks, William, for stopping by. Always great to hear from him.
The fact that they were correcting everything and not correcting with her.
When you look at the fact that they were correcting me on everything and not correcting her, it can mean only one of two things. Either they were biased against me, or I was just saying insane things that were wrong. Oh, God. Oh, is that it? Oh, no. Oh, did I say more factually untrue things? Oh, I owe a lot of people a lot of apologies.
Mike, you want to join in on this conversation? You can join in.
Thank you. No, I can't because I got to stop the show. Next show, it's going to be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer. And with all things having to do with Mike's Daily Podcast, we go to the mainframe and hear from A-Frame. Thank you for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.